Hey, it's B-Rad Celebrity Hairstylist here, your host of the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast, a platform that allows the voices of the beauty industry to empower with the spoken word. Thank you for joining us on today's show. Today's episode is a special edition highlighting the main stage presenters, educators, and vendors of the 2024 Beauty Trade Show of the Great Smoky Mountains by Hair Life Limited. So before we get started and jump in today's guest, I'm going to show you a little video about our guest coming. Today's guest is no stranger to the beauty industry. So let's take a dive deep in today's show by starting with a video.
I'm Cammie Parsons, stylist, chemist, but first a stylist. I never thought that going into chemistry, which meant every Saturday off so I could spend it with my kids, would somehow catapult me back into cosmetology, into the beauty world. I had no idea that it was going to end up changing our industry. I started working as a stylist in Wyoming, and I had a client come in, and as I'm feeling her hair, I said, "What have you done to your hair previously?" And she said, "Well, I bleached it, but I colored it back. So it's all good." It was not all good. And as I evaluated the integrity of her hair, I said, "I'm sorry, I can't perm your hair today." Obviously, she went away disappointed, and she went home and permed it herself. And then came back and asked me if I could fix her hair. I took her to the shampoo bowl, and as I'm shampooing her hair, it's wet, I can take her hair and just stretch it. It was destroyed. There was no integrity left in her hair. The only thing I could do was cut it off. And she cried, and I cried, and everybody else in the salon cried because she couldn't have what she thought made her feel beautiful. So fast forward a few years, and I'm in school to be a chemist. I needed a new career, and I thought chemistry would give me Saturdays off. As I'm studying, I come across this paper that describes a part of hair that we had no idea about. It wasn't even discovered until 2009. It's called the cell membrane complex, and it's an adhesive that glues your hair together. But I know what a cell membrane is. We've studied this. Your hair was cells, and now that cell membrane is still doing the very same protective job, except that we put chemicals on it. We damage that cell membrane, and then we put a surfactant on it. And the pieces start to fall into place, and I understand we have this beautiful, intricate protection, and then we destroy it. And not only do we destroy it, we wash it away with surfactants. And then I was walking up and down the hallway of the physical sciences saying, "No, no," until one of the other students stuck his head out and said, "Cammie, what is your problem?" And I said, "We put surfactants on an exposed cell membrane." And he said, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." And I said, "I know." I presented my research, but the chair of the department said, "You could turn it into a company." And I said, "Sure, I could turn it into a company. Why not? You know, people go to the moon. Maybe I could start a company." And after many bumps and bruises, after a lot of learning and a lot of effort, I'm now the CEO. And I am so excited that I can bring this new technology that can help your clients have the best hair possible. There's so much I wish that stylists could understand about the chemistry of hair. The stuff we're taught in school is inadequate at best. Thinking about that client for the years afterward, obviously it stuck with me. I can still remember her face, and I wish there was something I could have done to give her back her beautiful hair. This is disruptive technology because there is nothing like this. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for being willing to learn. My hope is that you and I can give your clients the most beautiful, the strongest, the healthiest hair they could have naturally.
Wow. So now we're back. So today's guest is no stranger to the beauty industry. Let's take a deep dive in today's show. Let's welcome Cammie and Trent from Uveni. So what is Uveni? So we're going to find out today. So welcome, Cammie. Welcome, Trent. And welcome to the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Brad.
Great. So can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background and maybe what Uveni is for those who haven't heard it before?
So I am a stylist who took the enormous leap to go back to school. I got my master's degree in chemistry. And while I was in school, there's a whole world that is necessary for stylists that we are not being taught. And one of the things that happened is, as I was in school, I discovered people who had studied hair and found the cell membrane complex. And Uveni is the brainchild behind repairing that cell membrane complex. I have it there so that I can play with it all the time. It's my baby, and we are one step closer to getting the patent on Uveni, the only product that can repair the cell membrane.
Yeah, I know you're an amazing educator because I just took some of your education, and it's mind-blowing that I've been in hair for decades and I've never heard once of what you teach, what Uveni is, that somebody hasn't created or invented this before. But doing trade shows, I know, is something I knew that you kind of are branching out to. But with that, when you first heard of the 2024 beauty trade show of the Great Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, what did you think?
One of the things that we have a hard time with is Trent, who is head of sales and marketing, is constantly trying to push me to talk to more people. And he can talk to anyone, anytime, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes. Except when I'm live on a
No, we actually had Stacy Prescott, and you've had Stacy on a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy reached out to us after she knew we'd signed up for the previous show we did where we saw you in person there.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy said, hey, there's this other one here in Tennessee that she was going to be educating at.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, well, we're going to use Pennsylvania's test run. We got through Pennsylvania. We're still alive. We had an enjoyable experience. Met a lot of amazing people there.
Yes.
And said, okay, we think we know what we're going to do. And so when the Tennessee show came up, we said, let's do it. Let's get to the Great Smoky Mountains and have some more fun with. And we have some more of our educators coming to be at the booth with us. And it's really helping those who have picked up on Uveni early and use it in their salons to give them an opportunity to talk to people about it. Because as you've heard before, Brad, as you and I have talked, Uveni is more than just a product. It really is about getting Cammie teaching, and then those who we educate, teaching them or those around them so they can truly be the experts and best hairstylists in their region. That's our goal. It's not to sell a massive product. The product is amazing, but it's to educate stylists on what the hair is really doing and having a safe space to come back and ask questions and say, I had this experience. I'm seeing hair do this. And Cammie and I go back and forth, and I send her the stuff. She pulls up the scholarly articles, finds exactly why. And then we get with that stylist. We get them on the phone, we get them in a video or just through messaging and help them solve the problems of their client's hair. And it's slow. It's time consuming, but we have a lot of success with stylists, not just with Uveni, but being able to solve problems with their client's hair that previously they didn't know where to turn to. And that partly is why we're doing more and more of the trade shows and getting Cammie into the education part of actually presenting at shows also, because people really want to know. They don't want to hurt hair. They don't want to hurt their customers. And
exactly.
Having a brain like that to help you find out why it happened, it's huge.
And it's mind-blowing, the reviews that have been coming in. So you guys, you must see like the reviews, people saying this product's incredible, this changed my life, this, you know, what people didn't realize. Cammie, can you speak on that? Kind of some of the reviews that come in, like what are the transformations? What have your people that have been using it, that have purchased Uveni, the product, what are they saying about it?
The thing I hear most often is, I didn't know my hair could feel like this again. One of the people who was bought at the last show, the next day sent me video of a client feeling her hair, saying, this is what a child's hair feels like, which is exactly what it is. That's the name of the product. Uveni is the Latin word for young. It just puts back what we are missing. And what I hear most often, besides my hair feels amazing, is thank you for teaching me. Thank you. Because like Trent said, the push is to get me in front of people, which is kind of scary because I'm a chemist now. But when I talk to stylists, that's my goal. I don't want to be an ivory tower CEO. My goal is to teach and to interact and to learn from stylists, which is why we're going to be at the Great Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, and they'll be amazing. I hear it's like, this will be my first time going there too, but it's very, I think the views are incredible. And the people that live there, like some of the educators are from around there. I think it's close to Dollywood. There's actually, I think from what I understood, across from the convention center is like the biggest water park in the world. They've got all kinds of stuff there. So if you want to sightsee and things like that, but touching on which you both can speak on too, how, and I saw this at the last show you were at, there's video of you kind of, it looked like interacting or teaching at your booth, but how important is education for our industry?
Oh, it amazes me how much is spent on education every year without teaching some of the basics that we all need to know. And the education that we get is mainly technical, which is wonderful because every technique that we can add to our tool belt can help our clients. But there's not very much basic knowledge that comes in. There's a lot of industry, how to use my product, but not what is hydrogen peroxide? What does it do? Was teaching somebody this morning, and one of the things that she did not know is that hydrogen peroxide is not what bleaches your hair. And she said, really? I thought that. No, hydrogen peroxide acts as an oxidizer for the things that do bleach your hair. And she actually, one of the things I do all the time in my education, as you saw from the video, in order for it to make sense, you have to see it, you have to touch it, you have to be able to understand it. And if it's a lecture of writing on a chalkboard, I'm going to fall asleep. So that is how I refuse to teach. My method of teaching is hands-on, stuff that you can understand, stuff that we as chemists see, as chemist stylists, we see and do all the time, because that's one of the things that cracks me up. When I was in undergrad, they can't get the levels of hydrogen peroxide in chemistry that we use all the time as stylists. They can't buy it. We have it, but they have to special order 40 volume.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And that's a big thing in our industry. Like, although we have a chemistry component that we learn, we really don't learn as in depth as you teach. And sometimes you're like kind of pulling the lid off of the misinformation type thing, because people have to also learn too that maybe everything or some things we learned are wrong. And that's okay, because we don't, like you said, sometimes people think peroxide does this, bleach does this, color does this, but do they really know what it does? Or how do they know when they're mixing in the bowl what kind of chemical reactions are happening, or what kind of reaction is happening actually on the hair? So you have a booth. So I imagine Trent's going to be there, and you have your whole team there at the booth. So if people are coming to your booth, what are you kind of sharing at your booth as a vendor? And then what are your attendees going to learn if they come and see you there?
Do you want to take this one, Trent?
I can start and you can finish.
Okay.
They'll come to the booth. They'll see Cammie in action and talk with her. We'll have some of our local stylists from that region. We have Sandy Kranz coming up from Alabama. She is one of our educators who'll be in from Alabama with us this weekend. Stacy Prescott will be up from Georgia. When she's not teaching, she'll be by the booth. We'll have Mark, who's our operations guy. Then, of course, my wife's traveling with us this time. She gets to be there and help us.
Oh.
And our goal is to help people see, number one, what Uveni does. We're hoping to have some products on hand to actually show it in action and let people feel the difference between processed hair and then processed hair with Uveni, and say, okay, so there's a difference. We'd love to demonstrate it. Like we had the opportunity with Stacy to demonstrate it in Pennsylvania. And the reactions of that you saw on video from our Facebook feed have just been amazing. Mostly it's education, though. We're going to have our boards up. We're going to have our before and afters. My Cammie's going to be there demonstrating the science behind what the products they're using do. The lipids, what you do when you put a surfactant in with lipids and ammonia, how it turns to soap and how it pulls it out of the hair and stuff that you wouldn't even think of on that end. Cammie's going to be demonstrating constantly throughout the day, just educating people. Again, we're not going to have a lot of product to sell necessarily. We're going to bring some, but it's mostly to get them really thinking about the education of the science of changing hair, access to a cosmetic chemist who truly was a stylist then chemist, and hopefully just have great customer service to get them wanting to know more and interacting with the educators from the areas.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And also, too, they can also go right to the Uveni website. They can register there. They can get the training there. They can get certified, and they can purchase, and it'll be shipped right out to them.
Yes.
As well. So, and they can also, I know you want to jump in there, Cammie, but before too, they can also bring their questions. So if they have questions about it, and because, I mean, Cammie herself is phenomenal, which is an understatement, but the knowledge that she knows, that she's not afraid to take a deep dive into things, find out about stuff, find out about ingredients. I love when she gets excited about, ooh, it's a big long word, but she's really, because like you said, it's not about sales. It's about paying it forward. It's about knowledge. It's about sharing. It's about let's take it from a heart place and let's do something that's going to be better for the stylist and better for your clients.
Exactly. One thing, this is why I wanted to jump in. This is my effort to make it more fun. We're going to have our spin the wheel and win a prize. Yay!
Nice.
So come see us for that. The other thing that I'm going to have is I'm working on it right now. I have a dolly head that over the course of, until we get to the show, I am going to keep coloring. My goal is to have at least 15 colors on this head. Half is going to be Uveni, half is going to be regular, so that you can see in action what the cell membrane truly does. So come see.
Exactly. I'm excited. I want to come see. I hope my booth is near you.
It was supposed to be in Pennsylvania.
It was. Yeah, well, that's another story. But no, it's great. But at least I know with this show, with the Smoky Mountains, all the vendors are all in the same area with the main stage. So we're all in one room. Everybody gets to see everybody. Everybody gets to be there. I wonder if you had a mannequin, but what about doing color? What if you did drugstore color?
Ooh, don't ever do drugstore color.
But I don't know. What would Uveni do for that? Have to stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah, I might try it.
But because you have so much gold, we're going to kind of wrap up here a little bit. But are there any nuggets of gold you would like to leave our audience?
Yes. When I was in high school, I was told by a teacher that I was not smart enough to go to college, and I believed her. And then life happened, and I went back to college, and I figured out anybody is smart enough to go to college. So if I could impart any wisdom, like just straight into your prefrontal cortex of your listeners, you are smart. The more I talk to stylists, the more I understand that in order to do this job, we have to be technically smart, meaning that we can manipulate things, and we have to be able to understand pretty complex things. So my goal actually is to get a line of merch that says smart enough to be a stylist. And
wow. I love that. Like even just the thing, and how many of us been put down by other people, said, you'll never make it. I'm the person that made you. If you leave me, you'll never make anything of yourself. You're not smart enough. You know what I mean? But sometimes too, it really takes a strong person to not take all that. But unfortunately, a lot of us, we absorb those words and we internalize. And you might have a brilliant mind, but then again, if you have that belief system that says, I'm not good enough, that's kind of what happens. So Trent, do you have a nugget of gold you would like to share? And if you don't, that's okay.
Going through this process of bringing Uveni from the ground up with Cammie, you know, me coming in just a little later onto the scene with her as they've gotten things going, just get up and work. It's those voices in your head are going to be there. You're going to feel like a failure more often than not. You're going to make mistakes. Like Monday, I was dealing with questions that we had no idea how things reacted. And then Cammie and I got into it. By Tuesday, we were working through it and started to figure out why it was or wasn't working. But all day Monday, the voice in the head are saying, just go find a job. Just go do something, right? That's safe. And you're in an industry don't be safe, but get up and work. Get up and try. And if you make mistakes, own it. Own the mistake. Mm-hmm. And it might cost you, you know, a couple hours to fix hair or a couple $100 in refunds. But as you own it, people will trust you. Mm-hmm. And as they trust you, you can make more mistakes without having those voices in your head tear you down. And mistakes are okay. Just own the mistakes, get up and keep going. And every day wake up and say, okay, it's a new day. Here I go again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And mistakes are showing that you're trying. Because if you want to play it safe and you never try and you never make, because you're so afraid of failure. But what isn't as I say, with the light bulb, you know, 99 tries and the 101 work. Well, if he gave up on 1, 2, or 3, we wouldn't have certain things now, or the same. We wouldn't have all these great inventions, great, you know, things that are happening. But the other thing too, I think, which is a spin-off of yours too, is about do the work, but also be curious. Yeah. Make yourself curious and say, well, what if I did try this? What if, oh yeah, we may have had this thing happen. Yes, I have to do a repair or whatever. But, you know, I think too, you have to be curious and not say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to afraid. Be curious of what could happen. What could go right? You know, and then the greatest things could happen and something great could be invented. You never know.
Well, you know, Cammie had bleach left on her hair for 2.5 hours.
Oh, I want this story. I want this story.
It should be gone.
This hair had bleach left on it for 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And I can tell you from experience that fried hair, Uveni helps it.
Yeah. And I think that's another great reason for people to visit you at the booth, because so many people don't know how to deal with fried hair, broken hair. Because we have so many products out there that is a hair mask, but the hair mask or the deep conditioner doesn't do what Uveni does.
It does not.
Right. And once they understand the difference, you know, then you know, yeah, I'm just excited to meet you guys again. And I want to know how to get one of those great shirts. Just
I will send one to you first.
Because I actually love them. So if you guys want to see the shirts, I'm not going to say what they look like, but if you want to see, you know, the great shirts of Uveni, I'm not sure what you're going to be wearing at the show, but yeah, love, love, love. And I think there's a story behind them too, but I'm actually going to have you guys on again. If you'll come on my regular show, I know we'll need at least 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours.
Okay.
But I'm sure people would love to have you on. And you also do education as well, which I'll make sure to drop the Uveni link there. You have ongoing education. Anybody that wishes to sign up, you have ongoing through the year where they can find out what's available. They can always ask you at the booth or email you or email Trent, I guess, and he'll let them know when the next education comes up. So I want to say thank you guys for being on today's show. And so the 2024 Beauty Trade of the Great Smoky Mountains show tickets and info can be found at hairlife.shop and use the code SHOW24 SHOW24 for a special discount. This episode is brought to you by the Hairstylist Empowerment Podcast 2024 trade show for the Great Smoky Mountains. Special edition has been brought to you by Beauty Industry Cruises, powerful education and beautiful destinations. Check them out at www. Oh, I've been talking too much today. So www.beautyindustrycruises.com. Remember to get up, dress up, and show up wonderfully and powerfully. And we'll see you next time.